please, we'll talk into the microphone.
Okay, yep.
It almost sounds like that's a conflict of interest.
Ready to go, Marion? Oh,
It almost seems like a conflict of interest.
Could have sworn I saw my name there. I thought I saw mine. Yeah, okay.
I understand. Yeah, I understand.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. You could have roll call, Marion, when you're ready, please. Thank you.
Okay. Chet Schultz,
Here.
John Bonka,
Here.
Rick Tolman, Tim Scarberry,
Here.
Rick Erickson,
Here.
and Joe Scott.
Go to approval of the March 10th minutes. I didn't see any issues there. If somebody else does.
I move we approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we'll move on to new business. Appeal number 1. Marion, if you could read the variance request, please.
Yes. Appeal number 1, a request by Richard and Rebecca Ellsworth for a 568 square foot variance from the maximum permitted size of 1,200 square feet for section 2102 GIP. Applicant was approved with 1,200 square feet at the April 8th Planning Commission meeting, and a yard location variance to build a 1,768 square foot detached garage in a side yard located at 6333 Shannon Glen Drive, Benton, Michigan 484. Parcel ID 4704-32-100-017. The property is zoned R1, single residential. Reference Tyrone Township Ordinance number 36-2101, Schedule of Regulations, and section 2102, C2A through A and B and I, and section 2102, C25, accessory buildings and structures.
Okay, thanks. And, when, just for the zoning board's awareness, in the planning commission, our ordinance states the maximum is permitted is 1,200 with approval from the planning commission. And then, so the applicant's trying to go above 1,200, and then this is RE, and then FR and RE. Well, FR specifically in our schedule regulations, if you're over 2 acres, I believe, is it 2 acres, Marion? There's no maximum size limit for FR. I'm sorry, the lot size and schedule regulations. I don't know if you guys checked that. I think it's,
I'm sorry, I'm not exactly clear.
so in our FR zoning ordinance, if you're over 5 acres, I think
it's
2 acres, and over
no
2
size
there's no
limit.
size limit. So this situation we have is unique because it's not FR, but it's 6 acres. So the reason the applicant had to come to the ZBA is because the max allowable in our ordinance is 1,200 with approval from the planning commission. So I don't know, the applicant is online or out of town for work, so Mr. Ellsworth, I don't know if you want to give a brief overview, that would be good
Sure.
for the ZBA. Here.
Obviously, we have a 6-acre lot, which is bigger than your standard lot. And we have started excavating, and in our excavation, we found that we were able not to need the side variance. We were able to move it back into the backyard so that we wouldn't even, we'll withdraw our request for the variance to be a little bit ahead of the back of the house. We'll be completely behind the house. So once we did the excavation, we found it will fit nicely. It's not going to be going down the hill. So if you'd like to have us withdraw that side yard variation, we would be happy to do so, because it will be built all in the backyard. So that was the first thing I wanted to make sure that you guys understood.
So it's going to be built, west of the house? I think that's the right direction.
It's south and west, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll be south and west, it'll be, west of our driveway and south of the house. Both south and west of the house, so it will be behind the house now, so we don't need a variance for the side yard, so that we can withdraw that. Alright, so obviously you know that it's 6 acres, and with 6 acres, we need a little bit more equipment to maintain things. And so I have a tractor, it's a Kubota tractor. I have a lawnmower with a lawn vac. I have a trailer to trailer my equipment to get serviced. So I store all that in my barn, and I don't want to store anything outside. In fact, our deed does not allow that, so we have to store everything inside, which that's what I want to do anyway. I don't want to up the beautiful neighborhood that I'm trying to build in. All surrounding areas to you guys have much larger allowances for their outbuildings. And I sent you guys a letter when we applied for the 1,200 square feet. I don't need to go through that. I'm sure you guys are aware that you have the most restrictive restrictions on building outbuildings. And so that, what we're requesting is a 52 by 34, a 1,200 is 40 by 30. So we're asking for 12 feet in one direction, 4 feet in another. This will not affect any of our setbacks. We'll be, in fact, by moving it behind the house, we're farther away from the land lines. So that, all that stuff won't be affected. And this doesn't affect the public, because from the road or from my neighbors, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the size of a 1,200 square feet and a 1,700 square foot barn. But cars won't have any increased traffic. We commerce out of our barn. It's just to store our items. And we're just asking for 1,700, and we were under the impression, maybe incorrectly, that you were going to consider allowing larger outbuildings on properties depending on sizes. And I don't know if that, I may be wrong on that, but I'm coming to you guys tonight for ask for a variance to make a barn to keep our lot tidy and store our equipment out of sight.
Okay, thank you. Bring it back to the board members for any questions or comments.
Did you say you were doing commerce out of your barn? You were kind of breaking.
No, we wouldn't, no, it's just a barn. Everything that'll be out there usually is just me and my stuff.
My stuff.
Any other questions? No? Okay. So open for any oral or written comments? I didn't see any written correspondence. Mary, was there any? Any public comments on this? Okay. Back to the board then for consideration of action. And just one comment, Mr. Albert, that when, depending on the action of the board, we will have to have an updated drawing on file showing the proper location,
That's what I was gonna ask.
so that way it's documented properly.
Yeah, we will get that, if you guys give us the variance, that will be in a few days, hopefully.
Yep, understood. Okay.
Because the structure will look the same as the original plans that we submitted, so.
Just bigger.
Well, we submitted these plans and you guys shot them down. So we withdrew the barn and came and asked for the 1,200, now we're
In
asking for this.
In the Yeah, thanks. Just for the ZB, in the planning commission meeting,
Yes,
we mentioned that this size was not allowed, that was shown on the drawing, that we were only going up to 1,200. To go beyond
and that's for.
that has to
yeah,
come
we
here.
did withdraw.
Yeah, I'm just letting the board members know, Mr. Ellis, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's here, because of that, so he knows there will have to be, there's potential for updates, but if the yard location variance is being removed, then there's just one variance for the size of the structure then, that we are
Yes,
considering action on. So, entertain a motion, unless there's other questions.
Well, I make a motion to approve, pending that we, get the new site map showing that there is no, lot line variance is needed and the location is behind the house.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion and support for the size variance pending drawing received with the location changed. Any discussion? Okay, if
Who
we
seconded?
could- Jim did. Hey, Mary, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Yes. Chet Schultz,
Approved?
Tim Scarberry,
Yes.
Rich Erickson,
Yes.
John Baca,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ellsworth, you're free to drop off or listen in if you want, but appreciate it.
thank you very much. I will get those altered plans for the location to you guys right away.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Yep. Hey, application, appeal number 2. Mary, if you could read that, please.
Appeal number 2, a request by Steve and Lisa Burns for a yard location variance to build a detached accessory structure in a front yard location at 10130 Fawcett Road, Benton, Michigan 48430. Parcel ID is 470433100016. The property is zoned FR Farming Residential. Reference Tyrone Township Ordinance Number 36, 20.01, Scheduled Regulations, Section 21.02B2C, Accessory Buildings and Structures.
Okay, thank you. The applicants in attendance?
Yes.
Yeah, if you could give a brief summary, that'd be great.
Okay, good evening. We're currently building a home here at 10130. And we would like to request a variance to build an accessory structure partially in the front yard of the lot. It was brought to our attention when we submitted for a final land use permit that it wouldn't be able to be permitted because it was partially in the front yard. Even though it was on our original site plan as a future barn before we even built the house. So we were unaware that putting our house in the location we put it in and so on and so forth, we wouldn't be able to put the structure where we initially planned on putting it. Also, along with that, once we got into all the nuts and bolts of building, we were required to do a modified mound septic system, which ended up being longer and in the area closer to what they consider the front yard of the home, and closer to where the house has to be built, basically, because of the land, drains and all those things. So we're here asking for a variance to be able to build that structure in the front yard, which we're kind of limited also because we're on a corner lot as to what's considered our rear side yard. So this is basically the only spot we could come up with the lay of the land, the septic, the well, where the location of the home is to be able to put the structure. And we need this structure because as we have lots of equipment to take care of the property, tractors and mowers, and all those type of things. to be unsightly for people to see, things of that nature. Where we plan to put it, it is technically the front yard, but the way the home faces, it appears to be in the side rear of the home, because it does kind of face the corner. So I don't think that anybody will look at it and say, oh, the barn's in the front yard. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions?
I think you have the septic here on the
Yeah.
drawing.
You guys have a site plan where it's all drawn out? I don't have it in my packet.
There's a button.
Turn it on.
I drove up, and looked at it, but I couldn't see.
Yeah, thanks, Marion.
And the barn would be over here, though.
Yep.
Yeah, so the barn would be closer to the faucet. You see that on there?
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's,
There, yeah, that's the,
as far as I understand it, the setbacks are 20-foot rear and side, but in the location it's at, it's like 140 from the, the one road and 110 or something from the rear yard. So it's well, away from setback requirements. It's just because of the way the house had to sit in the septic, we really don't have any other options.
thanks.
I'd like to note, too, that along Fawcett, there's a large tree row that runs along that side of the road and along the property line behind us, which the neighbor has a barn there. There's a barn across the street from us that's obviously visible from traffic, so I don't think it would aesthetically be any different than what's going on already in that area.
So, yeah, thank you. Any comments or questions, from board members?
Looks pretty straightforward.
Yeah, the only,
The only other option was be on the opposite side of the building, and I think the terrain there wasn't good for that.
yeah, you get into, you go down this hill, it gets
Yeah.
wet, and then you're
Yeah.
filling and.
Yeah, most of it drains from both ways into the middle over there and then down the hill towards Runyon Lake and then over to that creek that runs along the freeway there.
Yeah, it runs into Lake Shannon, actually. Any correspondence received for this, Marion? No. Okay.
There are some other barns that are a lot closer to the road out there too.
Yeah. Let's see. It's hard to read these numbers. What's this elevation change here?
It's about, I think, 10 feet from the top, like where we put the house was kind of the flattest spot on the land, and it all kind of runs from the back all the way to the road. It's like 30 foot of elevation change.
Yeah.
So where the house and septic and everything, we actually initially had the septic closer to the lot behind us, or south of us, I guess you could say. But
Hold on, guys.
the Livingston County wanted us to move it closer.
Oh, wait, if
Sure.
you guys have a question, I'll make sure one at a time before we.
I was just noticing that the property, number on here and on the request is 16, but on the site map, it's 12.
Because they were combined. There was,
Okay.
there was a 2.5 acre and a 7.5 acre that was combined.
Both were combined and they, okay.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Oh, that's a good
Yep.
question, Chad, just to make sure. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is the one parcel now.
So it's all
Yeah,
one parcel.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Look, to me, it looked more like about 15 to 18 feet, but then I'm a short guy.
Oh, yeah, it varies. They probably measure at certain points where that.
Yeah, and that's what they were saying originally. They had spec'd the septic to be closer south. And when Bo came out to look at it, he made us move it closer to the road because it was flatter up there and he didn't want it draining down the hill back that way. So that also restricted any options we had there.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, so bring it back to the board then for, if there's any more questions or.
I'll motion that we approve it.
I will second that.
Full motion?
Tim?
Tim?
Okay, there's a motion of support to approve as submitted. Any discussion? Okay, could I have a roll call vote?
Satchel?
Yes.
Tim Scarberry?
Yes.
Rich Erickson?
Yes.
Al Polka?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move to appeal number 3. You could read that. Mary. Thank you.
A request by Robert and Jade St. Sin for a 5-foot front yard setback variance and a 30-foot rear yard setback variance to build a new dwelling located on Unit 65 in the preserve. Fenton, Michigan 48430. Parcel ID 4708. I'm sorry, 470408101065. Property is zoned RE, rural estates, reference Tyrone Township Ordinance number 36, 21.01 Schedule of Regulations, section 20.02, BB footnote to the Schedule of Regulations.
Okay, thank you. Oh, Sin, I assume you're the applicant?
I'm Chris Macklin, designer on the project.
Oh, okay.
Rob and Jade are in the second
Okay,
row
thank you.
back there. And if you have any HOA questions, we got Jim in the second row here
Okay,
too.
all right,
So
thank you. Appreciate it.
Good, because I was going to ask about that.
there we go. Awesome. So yeah, Rob and Jade, they own lot 65 there in the preserve. And did everybody get out to see the staking and all that kind of stuff? Okay. What's that? Sorry.
Yeah, I was there.
Okay. So when I first looked at it, kind of became pretty clear, as it was, I think, to previous people who were going to maybe build on this lot. I've come across some older files and things like that. They were going to deal with it somewhat in the same way as there's a small buildable envelope, especially considering we've got 2 front yard setbacks being off Preserve Drive and then whatever that, I don't know if there's a name to that private road or not, on the north there, which then deems the south side as as the rear yard setback, probably because there's the 30-foot wide easement on that south side as well. But anyways, that was all done back in the day. And so here we are trying to work in a house to actually be built. I don't know how many renditions this went through. I know there was one right before and maybe another one. But it's a challenging property to build on, really challenging. Beautiful piece of property, just challenging. So our proposal, based on a pretty modest square footage, we got a couple thousand square feet on the main level because we have the master on there, and then we got it's roughly a 3-car garage attached to that. Let's call that about 1,000 square feet for now. And so as a way to avoid our hill, which is in some areas is 45-degree slope.
Very substantial.
Yeah, it's super substantial. Not that it's not buildable, but it's completely impractical. So the farther we push that house to the north or to the east, it quickly drops off and it quickly, incurs lots of retaining wall and that kind of thing. Back to the south side there, so what we're asking for is a 30-foot variance for the rear yard setback, and then even though it's visually on the side, and then we're asking for a 5-foot front yard setback on Preserve Drive there, and both of those are, like I said, to stay away from the hill mainly, but then also on the south side. How we came up with that 30-foot. So we have to do the 30-foot as far as the utility easement, which is essentially 15 feet off of the property line, and then went with 30 feet as a real, I say, driveway to be able to pull in and out of garage is kind of the minimum. You can do 25, but it's horrible. If I'm laying out a brand new house on a brand new lot, I'm starting at 35, 40 is even better. But so as to not push that house down the hill further, to the north, that is, I should say northeast. We're asking for the 30-foot variance, which gets us 30 feet from the face of the garage doors to that 30-foot drive-in utility easement on the south side. There's also a 15-foot wide sanitary sewer easement within that 30-foot wide easement too. The placement of I'm sorry, not the garage, but of the driveway coming off Preserve Drive is within the realm of making it work. I wouldn't want to push that more to the north. And what that does, it parks it right over the existing culvert pipe there. It daylights just to the south of that, so we just kind of get ourselves right over the top of that, and there's just enough room to get into the drive and still allow some parking, as you can see on the kind of the east side of that parking area. So, but yeah, that's the thing. We originally considered a walkout, but I think, and we would have that, but the problem with a walkout is now you got to build a patio or something, which is an astronomical amount for, once again, retaining walls. So we're going to have a daylight lower level, and but that's still, so our access to, with the proposed pool on the east there, tucked back in there, is coming off the main level deck to get to that, let's call it a mid-level pool. So yeah, that's what we're proposing.
Thank you. Is there any correspondence besides what we received, the email?
Just the one.
Just the one email. Don, I know you mentioned you had questions, so.
Well, I
go
just
ahead.
wanted to find out what the HOA was going to say about this, because I've been hearing about it a lot.
Yeah, so the HOA, two of us on the architectural committee had no problem with it. The one person that did say we should, not consider it, I sent him an email and I said, well, I really feel it's the zoning board of the township that should make that decision. And he agreed with me, because he has a variance on his house. I have a variance on my house, and there's probably
Everybody does.
20 people in there that have variances. So, and I basically told him that without it, it's almost a game changer, because it goes from, I think, a 7-foot retaining wall to like a 15-foot retaining wall in the back. And then the other part of it is the easement. Originally, I think the original developer considered that to be access to lot 66, which is basically not buildable. It's in a swamp, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing I heard that caught my attention initially, I think it was last year, was that both of these lots weren't buildable at all.
Right. Yeah, so lot 66 or lot 65?
66. 65 for sure, no.
Yeah, 66 definitely not, yeah. So there would be no way of moving a driveway next to their house, or in between the new house that's going in right now and their house to get back there. I just don't, there's too much elevation change.
Now that you have the new board, are they going through elections and all that kind of stuff to pass this kind of thing?
They are, we've had a lot of, I was the president of the board for 2 years, and then I resigned and another guy took over, but there's been a lot of conflict in the board. In the HOA there, we have the old schoolers that have been there forever, and then we have the new people moving in and wanting change and wanting things to happen. So there's been a lot of conflict in the HOA there. I can tell you that. I've been part of it.
So you're reasonably assured that if we decide to go and permit this, that there's not going to be any backlash from the group that's over there?
I'm very, very confident in that after speaking with them, yes.
I'm done.
Okay, thanks, Don. guys have any other?
You said there's no correspondence from the neighbors or
No,
anything?
just that email that we all got. There's a summary right there from, so. yeah. So bring it back. Oh, what's that? Go ahead.
Just kind of curious, when you guys purchased this property, was anything mentioned? Did you look into the buildability of the lot, or?
We had the survey, and we didn't find out about the driveway easement until after we had purchased the property. And we also didn't realize that it was, the setbacks are set so the entrance is on that side road, and there's wetlands over there. So that's, right, that's partially why the setbacks are the way they are. But when you go out to the site, it makes sense for the entry in the front of the house to be off Preserve Drive.
Thanks.
There was a previous proposal, like, by a developer. I don't know if it was going to be for their own personal house or what, but, that I came across, because the surveyor that I generally use, they actually did something with that, with those people. And the footprint that they were proposing, first of all, they were hoping, I think, to get at least back to like a 50-foot, it's a 75-foot. I think they were trying to get like to a 50-foot. And then also the footprint of the house that I saw was really small, like to try and avoid the as best as possible. But it was a really, like, if you looked at it, it's like the size of the garage and the size of the house were basically the same thing, so.
And it was a modular house, so I turned him down. I actually do a lot of work for that guy now, but I turned him down originally, and I'm like, you can't have modular houses in here. And he bought that lot, and he bought the corner lot on, I think it's 69.
He's gonna put the little easement in it by himself.
Yeah, that one, I don't even know how anybody can build anything on that one, so. But yeah, that's why, it looks so small, it was basically a modular, I think, 1,400 square foot house, which doesn't, apply to our neighborhood.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'll bring it back to consideration of action. There's no other questions?
I'll move to approve it.
Is that you, Chet?
That's Tim.
That was Tim.
And I'll second it.
Any discussion
Thank you.
on this one? Okay, if we could have a roll call, Marion, please.
Chet Schultz,
Yeah, approve.
Tim Scarberry,
Yes.
Pam Bunka,
Yes.
Rich Erickson.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Yeah. Go to appeal number 4. Marion, if we could read that.
Appeal number 4, a request by Nancy Hyde Davis and Deanna Cypher for a 55.2-foot lot width variance, a 53.7-foot front yard setback variance for an existing dwelling, and a 70.6-foot front yard setback variance and a 2.3-foot side yard variance for an existing barn for a proposed land division resulting in 2 parcels located at 11468 Heartland Road, Benton, Michigan, 48430. Parcel ID 4704-02-200-005. The property is zoned RE, Real Estates, reference Tyrone Township Ordinance 36, 20.01 Schedule of Regulations.
Oh,
Hi.
yeah, if you want to, go ahead.
Okay, so this is my sister Nancy.
Okay.
The purpose of this is to take the parcel, this was our family, the family orchard farm that we grew up on. And what we want to do is break off a 5-acre parcel to sell to my son. And then we're going to, maintain the rest of the orchard on the other 31 acres. So that's the object of what we're doing, or trying to do. So it's, the existing house and barn that is there. that we need the setbacks for, or the variances for.
Okay, thanks, yeah, appreciate it. Oh, yeah, it does show it on this. It's a good view of what's there. It's an easy one to see from the road too. Driving by it.
Did this have to go in front of the planning committee? I didn't read about it.
No, so it's an existing non-conforming, but since the parcels are being split, then it's like, then these variances have to come before us, even though the buildings are already there, and they've been there for
Yeah.
a long time, so.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say how old we are.
Yeah.
We grew up
As
there.
long as I've been driving up and down that road, or riding in the car up and down that road.
Isn't the date on the barn?
Pardon me?
There's a date on the barn.
1926.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
it'll be
fine.
a centennial next year. Yeah, and we want to keep it, you know, with my son having part of it. My other son lives across the street up Heartland Road. The two of them together, you know, it'll just be nice to keep it to the family like that.
We didn't receive any public comments?
No.
Okay.
I have to admit, it's okay to talk.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, this is our time for comments and questions, so.
I was a little confused why the property lines were based where they were, because that confused me a little bit. I wasn't sure why you didn't come out to the road and just make that all one parcel. You know, instead of, I couldn't figure out.
Make what all one parcel?
From what I read and from what I thought is that this variance for the lot lines is really not all on the road. Most of it is out in the orchard. And there's a part of property that's in front of there that looks like it's gonna be built on. Is that how I read it?
No.
Okay, because I didn't understand, I was confused when I
Are
looked at
you
it.
talking about the map, are you
Yeah.
talking about this here, Don?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I was just confused about why the lines were like they were.
The surveyor was just trying to get it set up so we could, you know, get the variances, then he'll redraw that to the 5-acre piece and then the rest of it. The 2.65, I think that you're looking at there, that's not ours.
There's houses on those.
It's
Yes.
this,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason I thought that was all yours.
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, it's these, well, two. Good question, Don?
I'm done. Yeah, I was just totally confused, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's good to have.
Couldn't figure it out.
For sure. Any other questions?
I mean, they're already there.
Oh, yeah, that's part of that, yeah. All righty, we'll bring it back for, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a motion and a support to approve the variances as submitted. Any discussion? Okay, if we can have roll call, Marion?
Yes. Ted Schultz,
Yes.
Tim Scarberry.
Yes.
Don Bonka,
Yes.
Rich Erickson.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so go to miscellaneous business, and I think there's 3 items for next month already, and potentially a 4th, right, Marion? So Marion will probably send an email just to confirm that the ZBA can be in attendance and we can support 4 applicants. So,
What, you know what date it is off the top of your head?
It's the 9th.
The ninth?
June 9th.
June 9th.
Okay. That should work for me.
I'm gonna send an email with the current applications and details about the boards.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Tomorrow. So watch for it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'll need to know, pretty quickly, because I do have to do the, public notices next week.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I'll send it out.
Yeah, thanks, Marion. Then just other item for miscellaneous business for, since we had accessory structure variance tonight. In the last 3 years, we've talked about it multiple times at the planning commission. We haven't made any definitive action or progress on it, but there's been changes in the planning commission each time that we've brought it up, and so we know that our ordinances as they stand are, you could say, more strict than others, but at the same time, there's also been discussion in those meetings or public meetings, so you can watch the videos, but hey, maybe it's good if they come as a application to the meeting, so people are aware that a huge thing's being built, right? So both ways, but it's something that has been discussed at the planning commission, just so you guys know. I figured I'd mention that since we are looking at it, but nothing happening currently, but it has been something that's on the open items list. So.
Is that coming down from the state, or is that something we're coming
No,
with
it's just
ourselves?
something we have been looking at in the context of our ordinance, like it doesn't allow, let's say you wanted to have one for maybe your parents or something. So there's all these different things. It's not as simple as, hey, it's just the size of a barn. When you look in our accessory structure standards, it's a lot, it entails a lot of things and potential for nuisance, so that's why it's not an easy conversation from a planning perspective, but, yeah. That's all I had. Is there anything else? Okay, move to adjourn then. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
I literally pointed that orchard out to my wife
Yeah,
an hour ago.
yeah.
When I saw the lines on there, I'm going, these houses have got to be family houses. I thought,
Oh, yeah.
that's what I thought, and I wasn't smart enough to go and see what the property lines
No,
were.
the parcel.
I'm sitting here going, they've got they have these buildings here already, and they grandfathered, I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, well,